The Williams team have launched their new car, the FW46. Now that car is stunning. I can tell you that car looks stunning. Don't let me say more than that. The dark blue and the marine blue on that car with the line of red and white makes it look so beautiful. Now, aside from the beauty of the car, how does the car look without even being driven? The car had been well engineered. Like I said in a video in which I talk about the ingenuity way in which I believe the Williams team should go about their car this season. It has shown that they are not really concentrating on 2024-25. They are really looking into the 2026 season. From what I'm looking at, they have really added a little bit to make them at least still maintain between the 6th and the 7th position. The FW46 does not really look like the last year's car, but it looks a representation of the Ferrari in 2023. The cooling fin has changed. The side pods are more aerodynamic. The trays look more challenging. Looks like a car that wants to really fight for a championship. But we know other teams would have upgraded and done a lot of jobs on their car. We are yet to see for big teams like Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren, and some few others. But we've seen us already. But this car looks like a midfield contender. It's going to beat the ass 100% from the way we are looking at the car. The front ends, the brake diffusers are so beautifully shaped and aerodynamically shaped. Also, the side mirrors have the aerodynamic qualities to give the car the right downforce they need for it. So on the side, the car looks totally different from 2023 car. It looks like Ferrari. It looks totally different, more aerodynamically efficient, especially towards the Duracell logo. The Duracell logo, which is the intake, it looks much more different aerodynamically, which means the car can be pressed down through the air around that axis. Then on the cooling duct looks more sharper, more slimmer, looking much more firmer. Like I said, cheaper than last year also. Meanwhile, the cooling is totally different. The fins on the side should be more cooler now for the car. With this, that car should compete in the midfield. Now, going to the suspension, the front suspension has been well managed, and it looks like everybody is going the way of the Red Bull 2023 front suspension. That is the way their front suspension look like. The selective placement of the tie rods, the upper arms, and all other parts of the suspension were well placed ahead of each other so that it can give the car the aerodynamic qualities it needs. Also, on the rear of the car, the rear beam had been changed. The car looked more aggressive, and the car looks like a car that will really challenge the midfield team for the championship. But how will the car really perform? We can't know now until they get to Bahrain. They would have run the car in Silverstone this afternoon after their launch, but we cannot really tell you this is how this car is going to drive 100%. I can tell you that, but certainly that car looks like a car that is going to compete, and I believe that car is really going to compete. So, seeing all this, what else does that car need to do to put it in the right frame for competition? Now, fine, let's go to the floor. They had a dynamic floor last year in which we knew Red Bull copied their floor. Their floor gave them perfect fit to be competing with the Red Bull on the straight. At the point, they were about 2 or 3 kilometers per hour faster than the Red Bull on the straight. But on the corners, they are having issues in which the Red Bull dominated. Now, have they improved on the corners? The car looks as if they've really improved. Their rear suspension have been revised. They've changed their rear suspension, which shows they are in it to see how they can win or compete for some races. But how will Williams do this year? We are yet to get to testing. In the 3-day testing in Bahrain, you'll see how these cars will perform and the little tweaks they will make up to them. They will add to those cars before the main race of the season, and we'll see the possibility of them really challenging for championship. That is the Williams racing launch. Those are the major things that we saw on the car, and we know that they might be a challenger in the midfield, and they might really give other teams in the midfield a run for their money. Up until the next one, Stake will also be launching their car today. You catch up on that as soon as possible. I love you guys. Thank you. Bye.